Detroiters concerned with losing their pensions got to speak to the bankruptcy judge this week. 110 people got 3 minutes apiece to tell the judge why they objected to the filing. And this was very interesting for me to see, because is this pretty rare, or have we seen this before?
Well, this is how the municipal bankruptcy works. I mean, citizens and anyone
who objects to it.
Anyone with a claim against the city for money or anything can come up and say, hey, you know what? I don't think you have met the qualifications to go into bankruptcy. What this turned out to be was a pretty, I thought, interesting display of street-level democracy. I mean, you had all kinds of people show up, really to tell, I thought, very personal tales about what's going on with their lives in this city,
and how it's going to affect them.
It was a very interesting look at how bad things are for people here and how desperate people are for solutions. Now, a lot of the stuff that people want is not realistic. A lot of them don't understand the finances and how they need to be fixed. But there was real pain on display in that courtroom that I think is reflective of what life is like for a lot of Detroiters right now.
Where are we in this process,
Well,
Nolan?
it's also a reflection of the lack of acceptance of reality and the continuous denial attitude in Detroit. I mean, people still don't seem to recognize the city's in bankruptcy. That's a very serious thing. And you've got the unions out there refusing to negotiate it. They think it's still 1999 and they've got some leverage. Well, Kevin Orr's going to end up imposing contracts that they're not going to like very well because they won't cooperate. You've got people inside City Hall fighting him ahead every step as if nothing has changed. You even have, the folks at the DIA, at the Institute of Art, sitting there thinking, well, gosh, you can't touch our hair, can't touch your art. I guarantee you some of that art is going to be monetized, either sold or leased. And if the board over there got in front of it and came up with a plan to give Kevin Orr what he needs, they can minimize the hurt. But at the end of the day, that's the only asset they have.
Are you willing to take that guarantee that he just threw out there?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think monetizing the collection some way, I mean, you're going to have to rationalize the asset in some way to satisfy creditors. I don't think that will include selling anything.
It could include leasing it out or what have you.
But you can't lease it out. I mean, it's not even a practical way to do it. Other museums are not going to participate in that kind of thing because
they don't want to touch it.
Well, right. They're making, all of this discussion about the DA is making the museum, which is our one true asset in this region, toxic among the museum community, which is a very austere place where there are rules, and if you break those rules, you're out. So,
well, they've got an opportunity here, the board, to manage this themselves, to get out in front of it, to avoid the worst case scenario. Work with Kevin Orr, sit down with Kevin Orr, and figure out what
they've been trying to do that, and he hasn't been
monetize. You can't just sit there and say, "Well, it isn't done in the art world." We're not in the art world. We're in the bankruptcy world, and that's a very
They have to exist in the art world after the bankruptcy, and that's the whole point of Chapter 9: is looking forward to
and seeing what you can pick up from the ruins after you're done with it.
They're going to be in bankruptcy court. You're going to have they're going to drag out. The unions are going to drag out this grandma retiree with her cat food on her plate and the tubes in her nose, and you're going to have the folks from the DA come in and say, "Well, you can't touch our art." What do you think is going to happen?
It's a hard it's a hard thing to balance.
There's a lot of stuff to keep in balance here, and Kevin Orr is doing a good job, I think, of navigating it, keeping his head down, and not being distracted, I think, by some of the more heated rhetoric.
All right, real quick, one-person grand jury now taking a look at the Wayne County Jail. Oh. FBI's looking at it. Kim Worthy's looking at it.
Somebody should be looking at it.
All coming out of this audit that we haven't been able to exactly see what they've been able to find.
Apparently, the audit it must have been quite interesting because she read it. Kim Worthy read it and put the grand jury in place. Somebody needs to be looking at this. $120 million of the people's money was squandered here on a boondoggle project that nobody seemed to be watching. From the beginning, this thing has stunk. From the land acquisition to the contract awards to the way it was managed, this thing has stunk from start to finish, and somebody needs to get to the bottom of it.
Good that Kim Worthy took this step.
Well, you'd almost feel better if they found out that somebody was stealing, because you look at the project itself, and you think to yourself,
something's wrong here.
Where did $120 million go? I mean, there's just no way to come up with that figure with what they ended up building. So, you know, you don't want to believe that sheer incompetence let them do that. That somebody was
There's something else
doing
there.
something.
You
see.
drive by that pile of concrete and you say, how in the world could that be $125 million?
yeah, there's no way. There's no way.
All right, we'll find out. It's time now for headlines. Nothing gets people going more than a good U of M MSU rivalry, and nothing got people talking more this
Don't
week
start, Christy.
than the Go Blue skywriting that happened to go over Spartan Stadium, and it was paid for by the U of M athletic department. So defend that indefensible there, Mr. Henderson.
We have it to spare, which you know. We don't have
Wow.
to worry about things like that in Ann Arbor.
Well, Michigan State, we weren't so pleased with the random flyby. Oh, we didn't mean to put it over Spartan Stadium.
It was the pilot got lost.
So really, should they be throwing out money for that kind of
I'm
stuff?
just going to let you two fight it out. I don't have
Drop the gloves. Let's go.
I don't have a horse in this race.
All right, Nolan, what'd you see this week?
Well, I was earlier this week, Tuesday, I participated in the Techonomy conference at Wayne State University. You had 700 people show up from all over the country to talk about what's new in technology and how technology can be applied across industries. It was really a fascinating conference. Great day in Detroit. People were excited about the city. The Wayne State campus looked beautiful. You know, and it's the kind of thing we're seeing. Even though the city's melting down, government's melting down, there's a lot of excitement about Detroit. People want to come here and take a look around.
It's good to know. All right, Stephen, what'd you see?
My headline was the people who showed up for that bankruptcy hearing, which I think was a very personal display of some of the things that people are grappling with in the city. We haven't seen a lot of that during this process. You know, I think a lot of people wanted to sort of poke fun at it, but it's a very real part of what's going on, and it's a very real concern that we should all have.
And I think people also have to understand that there can be a disconnect with what way people are living their daily lives and understanding actually what's happening with the city and how that all plays out with them.
That's right.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us, and that's going to do it for my week. Thanks for watching. Make sure you find us on Facebook and on Twitter so you can get in on the conversation. You don't have to wait until Friday. But before we leave you tonight, we would like to take a moment to remember a man who was a true leader at Detroit Public Television for many years. Bob Larson, former president and general manager. Bob passed away last week. Our thoughts and our prayers go out to his family. He always believed community development was public TV's mission. He will be missed.
Business Leaders for Michigan is dedicated to making Michigan a top 10 state for jobs, personal income, and economic growth. Learn more at businessleadersformichigan.com. Funding is also provided by Delta,